Okay, hello. I haven't done like a talking video or a longer YouTube video in a bit of a minute. So we're just gonna like talk and catch up and I'm gonna do makeup for fun. Yeah. That was like the least engaging intro you've ever seen in your life, right? Okay, moving on. I'm trying to establish which mirror is bigger. This mirror is much bigger. Okay. So I don't think I've ever done a video where I did my makeup and I talked at the same time. So I'm not sure if I'm actually gonna have the focus to do two different things like that. So what's new with me in the writing world is I have been doing a lot of research into marketing since the beginning of this year. I got a book called The Business of Being a Writer. It had so much good stuff in there. A lot of it was for if you're doing traditional publishing. But overall, there were just a lot of really great tips on making sure you're viewing your writing as a business. In the beginning, they were like, you can't just be all artsy about this and be like, oh, I don't want to like sell it, I don't want to do it for the art. No, you're like, it's a business. You have to treat it like a business if you intend to make it more than a hobby. Like, if you want to make it a hobby, make it a hobby. But if you want to make money from it, if you want it to be a business, if you want to sell it to people, it needs to be a business. But yeah, that book was super helpful, and I wrote down a lot of stuff from it, and I'm going to borrow my sister's copy if I need more info. But basically, it got me started on this whole thing of realizing that I needed to do better of treating writing as a business. And since, like, I'm already taking it from a more businessy place, like, I am publishing independently. I sell signed copies and merchandise sometimes myself, like, through PayPal and other stuff like that. Although I've been hearing stuff about PayPal, so I'm trying to decide if it's better to get, like, Cash App or Venmo or something like that. I don't know how complicated that is to set up, though. So there's more uncertainty there. And the thing is, I kind of wish I'd gone into marketing stuff sooner, because there's so much that I look back now and realize I could have, should have done, and I didn't, because, again, I was just trying to be all like, oh, but I just want people to read it. Like, I still want people to read it. And that's a big part of my goal, is to just get the book into people's hands and try to give them some good perspective, because there's so much bad worldview in books out there, and I want to give them a good and clean and whole view from reading my stuff. That's still a big goal for me. But if I don't intend to just go and like dump thousands of dollars into it, then I also need to view it from a business perspective and aim to make money, and to go about making that money wisely. So I finished the book a little bit ago, and I implemented some stuff from the book. But I'm also now doing more research into specific stuff, like social media strategy, like launching a product, because I'm going to be doing more merchandise this coming month. I'm doing stickers, and they're going to be affordable stickers, so you should stay tuned. So there's all this stuff that I need to learn about that I haven't put enough work and enough thought into until more recently, and I feel kind of silly that I haven't done all this before, because I think it could have been so helpful. Like, especially my last book launch did reasonably well, and I don't think I actually brought this up before, but I don't think it did nearly as well as my first book launch, and I'm still trying to get to the bottom of why that is. But I know that all of my launches probably could have gone a little bit better if I had a better strategy to it. So now I just feel kind of silly that I didn't do that either. But there is no time like the present, and if I didn't get started now, then later down the road I would have even more regrets. So, yeah. And I think it's also good that I had more of an experimental stage for a while. I just wish I hadn't dragged the experimental stage on for so long before starting to look into marketing and stuff like that. This morning I was planning out social media stuff for next month. Primarily, mostly Instagram / newsletter kind of stuff from this morning, but just in general right now I'm trying to make my strategy on all my social medias more smart, and make sure that they serve me instead of me just dumping a lot of random time into them with random ideas and it not working because I didn't know what I was doing. Later on I'm going to be doing like some reels and like posts and stuff about like stuff I've learned about marketing more recently. But I also want to just talk about it now because, like, it's on my mind, and also I have a long video here to, like, talk through, so I might as well talk about some of it. And not everybody's going to be seeing the same stuff, so it might not be repetitive for everybody. This brush is going to need to be so cleaned out after this. Also, because of all the research and reading and everything that I've been doing more recently, I feel like I'm finally equipped to be, like, giving people advice. Like, if they come to me for advice or if I have something specific to share. Like, it was a big thing for me for a long time that I shared, like, encouragement and ideas and things because I didn't want to share, like, tutorials and informational stuff because, like, I didn't have the knowledge. Like, during the big blogging time, like, everybody was doing, like, how to and, like, tips for this and, like, 5 ways to do this, and I never felt equipped to do that because I didn't, like, have any knowledge, and I didn't want to go around just telling people how to do stuff when I didn't know for sure that that stuff was going to work. And now, like, I've done more, like, research, and I know more information and stuff. So, like, I feel like I could actually inform people on how to do something if I have that knowledge. So, as a result of that, in February, I'm also going to be doing some reels on, like, making your own merch and where is a good place to get that merch printed from. Because print-on-demand places cannot always have great prices, which is something I discovered the first time around when I was doing my shop. Maybe 6 months ago, I think. Maybe longer. I don't know. I don't remember. So anyway, in February, I'm going to be doing some reels on making your own merch, if you want to be making your own merch. Because I now have the knowledge, or some knowledge, and I want to be able to share, because technically, from a business perspective, yes, other writers are a competition to me, but at the same time, we're not selling the exact same product. And also, I like people, so I want other people to succeed as well. You know, I kind of like a lot of y'all, so I would like you to succeed in writing if that's your goal, you know? Do you know what else feels super silly now? Is that I've been doing this whole trying to publish independent books for a lot longer than people think, a lot longer than most people actually know, because I've actually been doing independent publishing since 2017, 2018. I just haven't done a good job before. And I think the part of the reason why I was so insecure about, like, sharing that I published books with people before is that, one, I didn't want to demand anyone's attention. I didn't want to be like, you have to read this. That's not what marketing or publishing is about. And two, I think that subconsciously I knew the product I was trying to sell wasn't a super good product. So it made me nervous. I didn't want to be like, oh, this book is so good, because I knew it wasn't. And now, it's not that I know for sure that I'm writing good books, but I know where I went wrong in the past, and I know how to actually make characters likable now. Sorry, Lexi. But I know how to actually make them likable now, and not just people for readers to sympathize with because they're traumatized. They're still traumatized, and I'm sure people still sympathize with them, but they're likable outside of the horror and the trauma of what I do to them. So as a result, now I'm more confident in the books that I write, and I also know that just because I mention that I have a book and because I'm excited to talk about my book doesn't mean that anybody has to read it. Like, I'm not guilt-tripping anyone into reading my book. Like, I think that they should, because I think that most people would enjoy them. But I can't make them, and me mentioning it is not making them do anything. I think that they should read my stuff because they like it. Ooh, sparkly. Wait, I kind of like that. That's awesome. And the other thing that's great about making my books now is that now I have spent a long time building up relationships with other people who write, and with readers. Well, some readers. A lot of my buyers are still other writers. I don't think that's terrible, but I think that it's important to also be connecting with people who are primarily readers. The other thing that's been standing out to me in the social media marketing aspect is what content you produce. Pretty much it boils down to what you post is more than likely going to have two effects. It's either going to bring in more people who are interested in your stuff, or it is going to maintain the people who are already there. So it's not just posting stuff for the fun of it, although fun stuff is still important because I make these things so I want to enjoy them. It's also about the aspect of realizing what you're trying to accomplish with each piece of media. And, that's important. It's important to know what you're trying to accomplish, whether you're trying to accomplish something or whether you're just kind of throwing stuff against a wall. And I'm trying not to throw stuff against a wall anymore because I've been doing that for more years than was really necessary. And I don't think it was super duper good for myself as a writer or my brand or heck, even my self-esteem, because it was, hard to find progress from that. And I'm also learning from all of that, like, from a business perspective, there are certain tiers of people who follow you, and there are certain things you can sell to each tier. Like, of the people who are going to buy things. Because some people who follow me, they follow me for, like, the memes or the art or whatever. Whatever it is that brought them in. And they're just there for that. They're not there to buy something. And that's awesome. I'm glad to have them. Because they're rad. But the people who are there to buy something, there are various tiers of them. So, what you have is it's like a triangle. It's like, the food pyramid or something. So at the base of the triangle, there are the large number of people who will buy cheaper things, right? So, for example, if I was to be selling something for $1, if I was to be selling bookmarks for $1, there's probably a lot of people who would be more interested in that because it's just $1. It's not a huge financial investment for them. Versus higher up the pyramid, closer to the top, there are going to be people who are super dedicated to what I do specifically. And if I were to introduce, like, a book package that had everything that I ever had in it and included my personal phone number to call me on weekends, don't do that. And, like, books and books and books of, like, sticker merch and, like, my firstborn child, and I sold that for, like, $1,000. And there's fewer people that are interested in that, so that's why it's the top of the pyramid. It's a smaller number of people willing to buy bigger things because they're there for me specifically. I would probably be more in that tier for, say, something from Studio Ghibli, because I love Studio Ghibli. I'd probably be in the middle part of Studio Ghibli's pyramid, as opposed to something like McDonald's. I only go to McDonald's if what I'm getting is cheap. I pretty much only get things from McDonald's that are like $1 or $2. So I'd probably be in the lower part of the pyramid on that. And there's stuff like that going on in every single business on the planet. It's just how it works. And it's super, super interesting. Because you got to consider, like, what are the tiers of things that you can offer and who might be interested in that, right? And then involved in that pyramid are also people who are going to buy stuff no matter what you do, and then there will be people who will buy stuff only if it's within, like, a certain niche. Like, you might follow a brand only for certain stuff that they produce and put out. So, like, we're all using this little pyramid every day without, like, even realizing it, and it's fascinating. But anyway, enough about marketing. Let me talk about book stuff. So, like I said, I am not taking a break from writing right now. I'm just putting writing as the secondary task right now, while the primary task is the marketing. So while it's in secondary tasks, I have started editing Roaming Centaurs 3, which I'm still on the fence about the title for that one. The current title is Burning Skies and Other Nonsense, but the thing is I can't tell if I like it and if it works for the genre. So right now I'm just kind of on the fence about it. Which is why on social media and whatever I'm primarily just referring to it as Robbing Centaurs 3. Anyway, edits have started. There are several sections that need rewriting. So that rewriting is happening off and on. I got to the biggest section of the rewrite on Thursday of last week, and I had to take a little bit of a break because I was going to go on a trip. But I'm still excited to work on that because it's going to be very angsty and dramatic, and it's going to be exciting, and I love it. So book 1 was very focused on Wick. Book 2 was very focused on Archer. Book 3 is hopefully going to be kind of a mix of both. Archer still has a heavy role to play because he has the most change to undergo still. And he has suffered an incredible loss recently, and he needs to overcome that. For the sake of the people who haven't read book 2 yet, I'm not going to specifically say what incredible loss Archer has suffered. Because that would suck all the fun out of it. I like to get angry DMs from people who just finished and want to know what kind of monster I am. The worst kind is the actual answer. I've also put some serious thought into the ending of book 3. Like, I've always known what the end of the book was going to be, because pretty much in the beginning, like the very first book, I was thinking about how I wanted to, like, end the series, and what would really, like, complete the characters' arcs and such like. And, like, it took me a little while. But, like, I did know how I wanted it to end. I just, wasn't sure how exactly to go about it and what, like, circumstances were going to be surrounding the specific moment I had in mind. So, when I wrote book 3, I was not in a position to actually be doing NaNoWriMo that year. I didn't have the headspace for it. So, it was just kind of like a hell month. And I got really tired toward the end, and I just finished everything up in, like, just a couple days. I think I wrote, like, 10,000 words in 4 days. Because I was not really in a position to be doing a draft when I wrote book 3, I don't like a lot of parts of it, so that's why there's so much rewriting happening. Just pro tip, don't write a draft if you're not ready to write that draft. Do yourself a favor. I think that if I work very hard at it, book 3 will probably be the best book yet. But, kind of like how book 2 was, I'm just a little bit worried that it's just gonna generally suck. Just for fun, I'm going to briefly talk about the Skyboat story. So, it's my back burner project because it is the thing that I am excited to write about the most after Wrapping Centers. It's a pretty old work in progress. It's from NaNoWriMo 2017. So, it's nothing like my writing style now, which means that it also is going to need a heck of a lot of rewriting, which I'm not looking forward to at all. I'm speculating if the main character, who is a child, Javi, is like 7, I think. Maybe a little younger. And I'm considering if he needs a sibling to be able to process the more complex parts of the story, because honestly, Javi can't understand the complex parts of the story. He's a literal child. And he can't understand, like, the complex things going on. He can't understand the complicated things happening in his world. He can have an opinion on it because he's a child. And sometimes children have really mature opinions on complicated things. But he's not going to fully process all the complicated stuff that's happening. So, I'm debating about giving him an older sibling, but I want to say if I give him the older sibling, they are going to steal the limelight instead of Javi, and that's not what I want. The idea of this Skyboat story is that in the past, a huge magical storm has ripped across their entire land, and the storm left it mostly barren. So the catfolk made sky islands out of the living land that remained for the humans to live on, because it was the catfolk who accidentally caused the magical storm. So they make the islands for the humans, and they make out their living on the ground. As a result, there are huge divisions in between the humans and the catfolk. So, the story is about this child, Javi, uniting the two of them, mostly by accident because he's a child, and partially by the design of his mentor, Seneca. I don't know if any of these names are going to stay, so I kind of took like a social justice kind of vibe on it when I originally wrote it, because that was something that I was interested in at the time. I'm not as interested in writing about that as a topic now, and also I feel like I'm not super equipped to write on that topic, so I think I'm gonna make the theme something else. Not sure what yet. But just like boats in the sky, islands in the sky, like found family. Come on, man. Oh, I'm so excited about writing this story. Anyway, so this was us catching up. How's everybody else? What do we think of this? I don't know how many like long talking videos I want to do, because long videos on my YouTube channel don't tend to do very well. Only like 2 or 3 minute ones, and the sketches take so long to do. I haven't done a lot of them lately. This upcoming month in March, I'm going to be doing a big sticker drop. They are going to be incredibly better priced than the last set of stickers, and shipping will not cost as much because they are shipping from me, and they're just shipping in regular envelopes, so the shipping is not going to cost a lot. So you need to be on my Instagram if you're not already, so that you can keep up with all the stuffs. You should also join my mailing list, because all the biggest updates are going to be on the mailing list, and also the mailing list is going to make sure you actually know when the drop happens and get coupon codes and fun stuffs. So that is it from me today, and I hope you're having a fantastic day and that your writing is going really well. So anyway, I'm bad at outros. Love you, bye!